Hi, in this video again I want to show you how to find the cumulative distribution function, right? Okay, as this is the probability density function, as this is a small letter g, it represents the probability density function for the continuous random variable y, right? And for this I need to find the cumulative distribution function for this probability density function, so which refer to the g, right, the capital letter G y, right? So want to find the cumulative distribution. So as you know that the cumulative distribution is defined to be probability of y less or equal y, right? Y less or equal y, and the definition, the formula will be negative infinity up to y. For this case here is y, so I'm using y for the probability density function, right? For the probability from the given for the given probability density function here. So if I want to construct the cumulative distribution function, I have to look at the function given here, right? Based on each interval here. Alright, so then I need to draw a line. Alright, this is for guidance. Okay, for guiding, it's not compulsory, just for guidance. So there is 0, right? You have 0, you have 4, or just put all the boundary value, and 7, right? So which further divide this into 4 interval. Alright, if you see carefully, so 0, 4, and 7. Just put all the number here. 0. If you have 4, you put 4. You have 7, you put 7. Alright. So now you can see there is a 4 sub interval here. Alright. So means I'm going to label this to be 1, this to be 2, 3 to be 4. Okay, this is just for guidance. Alright. So that you can have better understanding. So you need to identify for this interval, right? For this interval, the first interval, this is as x less than 0, right? Before, sorry, it's y less than 0 in this case, y less than 0, and this will be 0, but before 4, right? Before the 4, and for this will be 4, but before the 7, all right? Before the 7, and this will be after 7, beyond, right? 7 and beyond to the right. So there is a 4 interval here. So if you already see the video that I teach you how to find the cumulative distribution function, this is an extra video for you to have more better understanding, to see the flow, the patterns of how I construct the cumulative distribution function. Okay, let's look at the first interval here, right? Let's look at the first interval here. So you have to follow the video from the start to the end, all right? So that you can see the pattern. So now for y less than 0, for this interval now we are talking about the first interval, all right? So then I take this first interval because I have start cumulative. So gy, the cumulative function for this interval. Alright. At first you must know that for this interval, for y less than 0, there are no gy. Alright. The function here is 0. Alright. Whereas for 0 up to 4, the probability density function is y over 10. Right. Your gy is 1 over y over 10. And for 4 up to 7, your probability density function, your gy, is 15. And after 7 is considered as otherwise, right? This 2 is otherwise. So means that it's 0, right? So now for the first interval, your probability density function, by follow this formula, gy is negative infinity up to y. Alright? Negative infinity up to y. So during this time, your gy, this interval, your gy is 0, right? 0. So you integrate 0, you are getting 0. So means that at first it must be 0, right? Okay, second, okay, see the pattern. So number 2, now I go for the second interval, right? But I never put a tick because now I go for the second interval. This is already over, right? Because after I go for the second interval, this is already over, right? I already done with this. So now is for 0, y less than 4. Right, less than 4. So the gy here, okay, try to see the pattern here. So I will start with the first interval, which is I already put a tick. A tick here means that it's already passing through this, right? It's already negative infinity up to 0. Alright, 0 At this moment, the density function is gy is dy is 0 dy. And later on, continue the first interval. Now go for the second interval, right? The second interval. So we will start with 0 again, but stop at y, right? Stop at y. Stop at y. And for this interval, right? So it will be y over 10. The density function here will be y over 10 dy. Alright? Dy. So let's continue here. So it will be your gy. If you look at this, this is the one before, right? Before, you can take the value here, 0. So you just put a 0, then plus with the current one, 0 to y over 10 dy. Alright? Y over 10 dy. Then integrating this, you have y to the power of 2, y to the power of 2 over with 2 times 10. So you have 20 from 0 up to y. Substitute the y, you have y power of 2 over with 20 minus with 0. Right? 0 square over 20. So finally you have your cumulative distribution function for this interval will be y square over 20. Right? So now you know that the gy for this case here now is y square over 20. This is for interval 0 up to 4. Right? So this is the 4. And whereas for the first interval it will be 0. Right? Okay, now you can see the pattern again. So this is for second interval. Now go for the third interval. Now before I go for the third interval, I put a tick here. I put a tick here. Now I want to find g for the third interval will be 4 y less than 7. Right? So if you want to find the cumulative distribution, you have to start all over again. Right? Start from the first interval. But I already put a tick. When I already put a tick means that it starts from negative infinity. It starts from negative infinity up to 0, right? Up to 0, already passing, already tick, right? 0. Then for this interval is 0 dy plus with. Now the second interval I already put a tick because now I start with. Now I add third interval. So I have to tick the first two interval. So it's from 0 up to 4. So 0 up to 4, right? 0 up to 4. During this time, your gy, right? Your gy is y over 10. Y over 10 dy, right? Okay. Then 1, 2, 3. Now go for the third interval. But I start with 4, but not end with 7. Okay? I do not write 7 here, but I write y, right? Because now I had a third interval before moving to fourth interval. Y. So during this time, during this interval, what is the function for gy? 1 over 15. So I have to write 1 over 15 dy. Right? So in the previous video, I have shown you that if you want to find the cumulative, so the first two here, right? Leave the third integral alone. So it ends with 4, right? End with 4. So this whole thing is, we name it to be G4, right? G4 plus with the current one. So 1 over 15, if you integrate, you have 1 y over 15 from 4 up to y. 4 up to y. So now this 4, G4, you have to substitute into the previous function, right? The previous interval, right? For the cumulative function. So it will be 4 square over with 20, right? 4 square over with 20 plus with y over with 15, right? Y over 15 minus with 4 over with 15. Then we see what is the function that you will get. Alright, okay. After I calculate 16 over 20, positive, negative, minus with 4 over 15, I'm getting y over 15, right? Y over 15 plus with 8 over 15, right? Or I can rewrite this to be y plus 8 over with 15, alright? So means that the gy for this function, for this interval, right? For this interval, 4 between 7 and 4. So during this interval, the cumulative function will be y plus 8 over 15. So then we have 4 interval, right? Now we go for the 4 interval. Kita masuk ke interval keempat. So we put a tick here lah to tell that we have done. Okay, why I put a tick? I have tell you that I have already done with third interval. So now how to find the cumulative function for the third interval? So again, we start all over again. Okay, you see the pattern here. I hope you can get it. So your gy, so for the fourth interval, which is y greater or equal 7, so you have to start negative infinity, right? Start from negative infinity up to the first interval. I put a tick up to 0, right? Up to 0. So during this time, your gy is 0, right? Your gy is 0, and start from 0 up to 0 up to 4. Sudah letak tick mah, right? 0 up to 4. So it's y over 10, and plus again because I already ticked the third. So 4 up to 7, right? Not 4 up to y now, it's 4 up to 7 now. It's already done, right? It's already done. So 4 up to 7, so 1 over 15 dy. And lastly, the fourth interval means you will add up 4 integrals. So the last one, it should be start with 7 up to y, right? 7 up to y. So this time is 0 dy, right? For this y greater or equal 7, so which is otherwise, right? The gy will be 0, your density function is 0. So, okay, then you have to look at the first tree, right? The first tree here, right? The first tree here. So it's n with 7, right? So I can rewrite this whole thing to be capital letter G7 because it's n with cumulative until 7, right? Until 7. So plus with the current one will be 0, right? Integrating 0, you're getting 0. So G7, the value of 7 you have to substitute into the function, right? Before, substitute into the function before this interval, which is this one, right? Your cumulative function, which will be 7 plus 8 over with 15, right? The 7, you substitute 7 plus 8 over 15, you're getting 15 over 15. Definitely you will get 1. You are getting 1. This is the way that you are doing the right thing, okay? You are doing the correct method, okay? You have getting 1 lastly, right? Because the total probability must be 1, right? Okay, now I have shown you the working now. Now I'm going to summarize this. Hope you really understand this, right? Now I'm going to summarize this into the in the form of piecewise function, all right? The cumulative distribution function. All right, okay, I go in the summary here. So I have erased all this. So you have to know that this is a probability density function, and now we are going for cumulative distribution function. Okay, so it's a capital letter G, Y, right? So, okay, there is the starting with 0, right? For the interval y less than 0, right? So now go for the second interval. This is the second interval here. So which is 0, y less than 4. So it will be y squared over 20, all right? Y squared over with 20, all right? And followed by the next interval will be 4 until 7. So during this time, your 4 until 7, your cumulative distribution function will be y plus 8 over 15, all right? Y plus 8 over with 15, all right? Finally, it should be 1, all right? Must be 1, must start with 0 and 1. That's the difference between cumulative and probability density, all right? So, okay, then you are getting, sorry, the interval will be y greater or equal 7, right? So this is the cumulative distribution function for this probability, for this continuous random variable here. So you have to know how to using this cumulative distribution function in finding the probability, right? And also finding the median, first quartile, third quartile, right? So okay, let's see how I want to using this to find probability and median. All right, how to using this cumulative distribution in finding a probability, right? Actually, before I teaching you how to find the cumulative distribution function, So there is a video that I talk about how to using the probability density function in finding the probability. Now you have to compare between these two, right, by watching the video for probability density function. Now I talk about cumulative. So if I asking you to find the probability of 2, right, of y between 2 and 5, right? The probability of y between 2 and 5, so include the 5. So doesn't matter, there is a this is special only if this is a cumulative distribution function for continuous random variable. All right, for continuous random variable, the equal and without the equal does not give any impact on the probability. All right, so if you have probability of between 5 and 2, right, you very simple, you just take the the cumulative value of 5, right, minus away g, the capital letter G, not the small letter, right? Don't use the wrong function, the cumulative. So you are using this way, right? And for 2, you just put a 2 here, right? Very simple. Then you just see 5 is between where, right? 5. 5 is between 4 and 7, right? So you have to substitute the 5 into this function here. So it means that 5 plus 8 over with 15 minus with 2, probability of this is actually probability of y before 2, right? That's the meaning here. So you have to substitute 2 into here, right? 0 to 4 is between, so if you substitute 2, so you have 2 square over with 20. Then you will get your probability, right? You will get your required probability. So which is 2 over 3, right? The value is 2 over 3. So if let's say, okay, I give you more variety. Let's say if the question asks you to find the probability of y greater than 4.5, right? 4.5. This is a continuous random variable, right? So 4.5 is between 4 and 7, right? So but in order to using the cumulative distribution function, you must remember cumulative distribution function is defined to be probability of y less or equal y, right? Okay, for cumulative, for continuous random variable, the equal or without the equal, it doesn't matter, right? So now you have more than, so you can write this to be 1 minus p y less or equal 4.5, or just y less than 4.5, right? You want to change from more than, it's the same as 1, the total probability minus away the probability of y less than 4.5. So which is, follow the definition here, you will actually g 4.5, right? Then you search for this value in the cumulative function here, 4.5. 4.5 is between 4 and 7. So you have to write 4.5 plus 8 divided by 15. Then you will get your required probability. So which is actually 1 over 6. 1 over 6, right? So very simple, right? So now I'm going to show you how to using the cumulative distribution function, right, in the same video to find the median, right, to find the median. All right, now I'm going to show you another application of cumulative distribution function, right? You can use to find median. So median is defined to be median. For this case, it's a cumulative GM must be 0.5 here, right? The meaning here is that the probability of y less or equal y must be 0.5. All right? You know that median is half, right? Middle value, right? So in this case, the total probability is 1. So the median will be the total probability must be 1 over 2, right? Must be 1 over 2. So now how to find the median? Very simple. I have already teach you in the previous video. You just look at the upper value here, right? The upper limit here, right? 0. So this is 0, right? Just right here, 0. So 4, right? 4. You substitute the upper one into the function here, 4 square. 4 square over 20. 4 square over 20 is 16 over 20, which is 4 over 5, right? 4 over 5. And 7, you substitute, you're getting 1, right? And here also 1, right? So you substitute 7 here, 7 plus 8, 15 over 15, you are getting 1, right? So here also, you're already 1, right? So you must look at this 4 value here, this 4 value here. Which one is the first value. You start from here. This is first value, second value, third value, fourth value, right? First, second, third, fourth. All right. So which one is the first value that more than half, right? More than half, right? This is half, 0.5. Definitely 405 is already more than half. It's 0.8, right? 0.8 means that the first, second, third, fourth value, this is the value that start to greater than 0.5, right? As long as it's greater than 0.5, as long as this is greater than 0.5, then the median will be in between this interval. The median will be in between this interval, means that this will be your median plus, right? Median. So now you have substitute the median into this function here. So it will be your GM now will be m squared over 20, which is you equate to 1 over 2 or 0.5. Very simple, okay? So, and later on, your m to the power of 2 will be 1 over 2 times 20, you have 10. So, m will be positive negative square root of 10, right? So, let's give it in decimal form in 3 significant figures. Alright, which will be positive negative 3.16, right? 3.16. So, but there is two value here, right? There is two value here. You see, this is 3.16 or negative 3.16, right? This will be rejected not because of it is negative, not because it is negative, it's because it's not in this interval, right? It's a more proper way of explanation, right? Now I know that median must be between 0 and 4, right? Must be between 0 and 4. This value is not between 0 and 4. This is the one that between 0 and 4, right? Between 0. So the median is or we say as m is 3.16, right? So this is your answer. All right. Hope you understand this video.